Kyle, you're with RAD Distribution, right?
Yep.
Awesome. And what do you do over there?
So I'm product manager and content creator and help with some marketing. So small team, we all wear a bunch of hats.
Okay.
But, yeah, so mostly product management, helping with development.
So this is one of my favorite EQs of all time. You want me to wax poetic on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Lang is a program equalizer that was designed back, I believe, in the 50s or the 60s. And this was, back then, probably the main competition that you were going to find for something like a Paultec. But the thing about the Lang that I've found, besides the fact that you can do interesting things like boost and cut at different frequencies,
Right.
is that it's incredibly soft, you know? Where the Paultec, if you push it, one, at its extremes, I believe it can get ringy with some program material, although it's not really super susceptible the way some other inductor equalizers are. This thing is very, very silky, and I actually just did a great interview with my friend Dennis, and he showed me some photos of Mick Gazowski's room, and this is the background vocals of those Mariah Carey records.
Killer.
So when you think of those super silky, bright vocals from the early 90s that Mick was just famous for, this was a part of it. And it makes complete sense to me because this knob over here is hands down, oh, that's Drew. No, this one over here. This one, 10K, 12K, 15K, is one of the easiest knobs in pro audio to turn all the way up and leave it there. It sounds incredible.
Yeah. Talk about some black line stuff, which we got some stuff down there right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this last year, one of the biggest things that we've been dealing with lately is the Bluey. The Bluey 500 just came out. It's got all the components of the 19-inch rack in a 500 series format, and really cool features on this, such as like the mix knob, right, that you don't always see on a lot of analog hardware. And all of our 500 series 1176 can do all buttons in, can do all that stuff. And if you don't know the story behind the Bluey 500 and the Bluey full rack, it's CLA's blue stripe that he had in the studio and used on all his vocals, and throughout time, with the unit being modded and repaired, the components in the unit were not,
They weren't right. I actually have gone down the rabbit hole and figured out that wiring mistake.
Yeah, right. So it was a little weird stuff going on, but we just recreated it one-to-one, and that's what you get in the Bluey 500. So I made the sound examples we have online with this thing, and when it was a prototype, and I just fell in love with it. It's super cool. I
will say that I love the feel of these step potentiometers.
All the newer Black Line stuff, build quality is all killer, man. I'm very proud of it. And another thing you'll notice is that both of these two 500 series 1176s can be stereo linked.
Oh, right here from the front on these RCA jacks. I was looking at that and curious about what that was about.
Yep. So that's the Bluey 500, and then we also have the 17 500, and the 17 is an 1176 from Black Line. That's basically our favorite version of all the revisions crammed into one. So it's not specific to any one revision. We've taken what we liked out of the multiple revisions and made our own kind of thing that we like the vibe of the best. But as you can tell, similar controls. It's got a mix knob on this one as well. A little bit different. We have high pass filters on this one, sidechain, which the Bluey does not, and a little bit different buttons on this one, with some LEDs and stuff.
I'll say this all looks so good.
Yeah, man. And they sound great. They're really fun to use.
And then this one, I'm assuming, Fairchild.
So this is the Heritage Audio. It's the Grandchild.
Okay.
Which is a 500 series format of the Hairchild. But the cool thing is it's a stereo unit. So it's two rack slot stereo unit.
This is stereo.
Stereo. You get a stereo Fairchild, right? But I want to say, don't quote me on this, we have to go look at it, but I want to say it's like a $199 that price. So that price for a Hairchild is crazy.
How much is it?
I think it's $2,000. I have to double check, but yeah, I think it's.
That is incredible for what I would consider some Fairchild hype that's going on every year at NAMM. There's some hype around where you see it from multiple companies.
Oh, yeah, man.
This is probably one of the most interesting things I've seen of the hype.
Absolutely,
because. One, it's in a form factor that I think is readily available to a lot of people. I think there's not that many people who may have 8 spaces available.
Right.
Totally. So this is just great.
Totally.
And is this shipping already?
That's shipping out. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that released on Halloween.
Okay.
This last year. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got some new patch bays from Black Lion, XLR 32. That's the 16. No, this is the 32D sub. Sorry, but yeah, this is a 32D sub. So we got D sub on the back, and the XLR out the front. We did announce we just dropped that's our TT patch bay, super high quality ins and outs of these patch bays. We heard a lot of things about some other patch bays on the market that a lot of those TT connections, especially on the back plate, can kind of be a little finicky and don't have a lot of longevity. So we spend a lot of time on those gold-plated inputs and outputs. And one thing we do differently with our TT is that each bracket on the back and each connection has actually there's another bracket that we have. It's secured to our chassis in a way that a lot of other manufacturers don't. So it's just another layer of protection when you're plugging in inputs and outputs on a TT patch bay, which can get fairly pricey once you get up there with it. So we don't want to sell anything that's not going to last.
No, I will say it looks really, really great. I love how flush it is. One problem that I have is a lot of patch bays, you'll see that they've got the jacks recessed a little bit.
Right.
And then you can run into issues trying to shove certain people's cables in there. But this is nice and flat.
Yeah, the machining on it. I shot the launch video for it, and if we had it out and you just hold it, it just feels so solid. So.
And does this go to DB25 on the back?
Yep.
Okay, great.
DB25 on the back, TT on the front. And if we come over here, we got a couple more Black Lion.
Yeah, show me.
So we just dropped the Revolution Expander, which is an 8-AD expander, right?
Tell me about it.
So yeah, it's a converter, 8 in, 8 out. So it's a TRS, 8 TRS ins and 8 TRS outs in the back.
Okay.
8-AD, up to 192. But the real sauce with this unit is that we have our macro MMC word clock on this device.
Okay.
So the macro MMC word clock is a patented design that we have patented with Black Lion.
And where does that compare to something like the XM clock?
So the XM clock, honestly, the macro MMC is very high performing. So we're about to have some new announcements, hopefully in this coming year, about some new clocking devices. But right now, I'll just say this, that the quality to price performance you're getting with anything with this word clock is outstanding. The word clock we think is worth the price of this unit alone. And this is the same word clock that we also have in the 6x6 interface I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, so this thing's really handy. I have it in my studio. Obviously, whenever you start to connect different digital audio devices together, it's really important to have a common clocking source.
Absolutely.
But I also think that this word clock just really improved the sound of I have some Quantums at my house right now, and just clocking them with this unit, I feel like it's benefiting my whole setup. So, and another really solid device, just feel the weight and the machining on this.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. So
amazing. Analog ins and outs too.
Yep. So this thing came out, I think was also announced in October, so it's only been shipping for a couple of months.